during this pandemic fought overnight, which brings the total cumulative death in the state of Florida to 7,084 in the state of Florida. As for Palm Beach County, we had an additional 372 positive cases with an additional 9 residents that were hospitalized, and however, we did not have any fatalities to COVID-19. And yesterday when we spoke to the public, we had told you that the positivity rate for Palm Beach County yesterday was at 8.8%, but today I'm happy to say we're at 8.2% for Palm Beach County. If you look at the positivity for the past 5 days, that means that we've been at under 10% for Palm Beach County, which means that the residents of this county have been working really, really hard to fight to combat COVID-19. And there are things that we have done and that we need to continue to do to combat this virus. First, our COVID compliance and enforcement team have been working really hard to make sure that we're educating all of our residents, our businesses, to address this. The second issue is we've been urging all of our residents to continue to wear masks. Since we don't have a vaccine, the best thing that we can do is to wear a mask. And finally, we just want all of our residents to continue to keep the social distancing and then also to avoid crowds. So these are updates for today. Thank you very much. Now we're going to have our Fire Chief, Reginald Duran, who's going to give an update.
Thank you, Commissioner. I first want to thank Mayor Kerner, our County Administrator, Virginia Baker, as well as Emergency Management for their help and support of fire rescue. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue remains prepared to deal with the impacts that may still reside as a result of this tropical storm. Prior to the storm, we increased staffing, we mobilized high water vehicles into strategic locations. Throughout this storm, our firefighters and paramedics assisted in support of shelters. During the storm, our communications operators continued to answer the calls for service, and our units continue to respond, both rescues, specialty units, as well as engines throughout this event. Post-storm, our crews performed damage assessments. I would like to repeat, we had no major events as a result of this storm. I'd like to say a few suggestions for the next event, however, and this one. Please watch out for downed power lines. We still have some issues regarding that. Be aware that we may continue to still have periodic squalls of wind and rain, so I would ask that you still continue, if at all possible, to stay off the roads and remain safe. I would like to remind everyone, though this event was not as significant as it could have been, I think it was enough of a test to help us identify areas we need to improve in terms of our preparation. So please take the time to do an assessment of what went well for you during this storm, where were some gaps that you had, and let's start to prepare for the next one. It is extremely early in the hurricane season for the most significant part of it. Please help us. Again, I'd like to thank the firefighters and paramedics of Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, also our call operators. They all came to work, they did a tremendous job, and maintain the support for this community that you deserve. Thank you and be safe. I'd like to introduce our Emergency Manager, Bill Johnson.
Thank you, Chief. Mayor, we are blessed that Hurricane Isaias spared us of significant damage. I am pleased that this was more of an exercise than a real event, something that we should all be very grateful of. The Palm Beach County Emergency Operations Center has received no reports of storm surge or significant flooding. Few damage reports of uprooted trees and downed power lines have been reported. In fact, FPL reported over 2,600 customers without power earlier this morning, and now less than 300 customers are without power, and FPL is working to restore these remaining customers as soon as possible. We received reports of less than 20 malfunctioning traffic signals of the 1,400 signals that we have. We are working to return our special needs residents back to their homes and anticipate closing all of our shelters earlier this afternoon. We are closing all of our general population shelters, including our pet-friendly shelter, which sheltered 19 dogs, 7 cats, and 1 bird. Our Emergency Information Center answered over 450 calls from our residents. I am very proud of all of the efforts and actions taken here at the Emergency Operations Center by the leadership and the response team proactively to address the threat of Hurricane Isaias. Palm Beach County was under a hurricane warning facing the threat of hurricane-force winds for over 24 hours. We are very grateful for our partnership with the National Weather Service, Miami office, and the National Hurricane Center. Their expert guidance gave us additional confidence in our protective actions. We are also appreciative for the exemplary support and cooperation of not only the Fire Rescue Department, the Sheriff's Office, and our other first responders, but also the School Board of Palm Beach County, the Healthcare District of Palm Beach County, and the Department of Health, Palm Beach County. Our collaborative efforts demonstrated that we can effectively, yet safely, respond to a major disaster threat in the midst of a major nationwide pandemic, something that we have never done or faced with before. Our numerous Palm Beach County staff and our many partners safely sheltered over 200 evacuees following CDC guidelines. The Emergency Operations Center conducted numerous coordination conference calls with multiple partner agencies throughout our 3-day activation. And our logistics section moved tons of shelter supplies, cots, personal protective equipment, hand sanitizer, and other goods in order to ready our county-wide response system. Later this afternoon, we will de-escalate the Emergency Operations Center to a level 2 or partial activation to continue our efforts in response to the COVID pandemic. I would now like to bring up to you the Incident Commander, Virginia Baker, our County Administrator. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am thankful for our community, that our community was spared from the impacts of this storm. I would like to thank the community for responding to the call to be prepared, to shelter in place, and keep off the roads. On Monday, county operations will resume. However, offices have modified their operational hours due to COVID-19. So if you are in need of services of any of county offices, please call them first so that you will know what the procedures are so that we may provide you efficient and effective service as you require. As of today, beaches and parks are closed. Palm Tran will resume operations on Monday. Beaches and parks will also open on tomorrow. I know that we're using this as a wrap-up for this particular storm, but don't let your guard down. We have 4 more months remaining in this hurricane season. Please use this experience as one to keep your family prepared and safe. As Bill mentioned, we remain in a state of emergency for COVID-19 and ask that everyone continue to practice the actions to reduce the spread of this virus by wearing facial coverings and practicing social distance. We will continue our COVID response and review our testing as well as resume operations on testing sites on Tuesday. People will be able to call and schedule appointments beginning tomorrow, and testing will resume on Tuesday. We are also consulting with the state on the various types of new testing opportunities coming out. We want to ensure that our residents are given an opportunity for more rapid tests, if that is what the state is going to move forward with, and any other antibody type test here in our county. We will work with the state Department of Emergency Management along with the state healthcare district and the Department of Health for private and public testing methodologies. Masks continue to be sent out to over half of our 659,000 households. They have received those masks. We did get positive feedback from our residents. They did appreciate the masks, the ones that have received them. We anticipate all households should receive them by the end of this week, no later than the end of the following week. Combat COVID app is now available in the Apple Store as well as on Google Play. We will be expanding our announcement this week as well. This is an app that will allow us through Bluetooth technology, not GPS, because we're not looking to track anyone, but by Bluetooth technology, so that if you pass someone with your Bluetooth on, their Bluetooth is on, and you've downloaded this particular app, it will allow you to be notified that you may have encountered someone that tested positive. You won't know who that person is. It will just simply give you a heads up that maybe you need to go get tested. We are very excited about this app, and when this particular when COVID has been completed, run its course, we'll be able to use this platform for pushing additional information out to our communities. So it serves a two-purpose code. Our COVID education and compliance teams have been very effective. They will continue to go out to ensure compliancy with our ordinances as well as our executive orders. Masks remain mandatory, social distancing is necessary, and continue to avoid gatherings. Remember the 3 C's: avoid close contact, avoid crowded spaces, and avoid confined spaces with limited airflow. Again, we offer these, and many thanks to all of you for adhering to our request. We want to thank our municipalities for working with us throughout the hurricane, along with our local and state officials, as well as the governor's office, who's been very helpful to us, Department of Health, the healthcare district, the media, thank you, and also the BCC for your leadership, and most of all, the backbone of county operations, my staff, the county attorney's office, Team PBC. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you, Ms. Baker, for your leadership. Just in summation, now that the storm has passed, we return 110% of our focus back to the COVID-19 pandemic. The efforts that this county and this community have put forward between wearing the masks, socially distancing, and every other aspect that we use and utilize to stop the spread of COVID-19 is really starting to work. I have no doubts that this storm will not interfere with our response. As you heard from Commissioner Mac Bernard, we are below the state average of positivity. I think it was 8.8. We've been at that for over 5 days. That's a huge achievement. That shows us that what you're doing is working, and we're very appreciative of the team effort that this county is putting into this. Further, we did have no deaths overnight. That's a big deal. I cannot stress enough how important, how quickly we need to return our focus to combating this pandemic. We will continue to invest resources into our response. We'll continue to work directly with the Department of Health. And as early as today, we will be meeting with senior staff to re-energize our efforts towards the pandemic. As you heard from Ms. Baker, our testing sites that are state-supported will return to operations on Tuesday. I know that this has been a stressful time period for the county and our residents. We appreciate your cooperation. We appreciate your teamwork and your focus on staying safe and stopping the spread. And on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, thank you for everything that you've done on our behalf, and it's an honor to serve you on behalf of the board. With that, we'll take any questions.
Even though you only had 200 evacuees at the shelters, did everything go well? Were there any hiccups? What were the hiccups?
It went very well. I'm not aware of any hiccups. The question was, we had about 200 people at our shelters here in Palm Beach County. Were there any incidents, any problems, any frustrations? Again, I'm not aware of any. I think it was a great practice round in the sense that if and when a storm comes that impacts this county directly, that we will have an issue with COVID-positive patients or people that are exhibiting any type of sickness or illness. And so it gave our staff and our operations team an opportunity to put those plans into place. We didn't have anybody that was sick come to our shelter that I'm aware of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if we did, we were well prepared. We have segregated spaces within our shelters, and we have very good procedures in place, including mandatory masks and screening of temperatures on the way in.
Any more information on when you'll be able to give any more information regarding the COVID Combat App?
Question is, when will we be able to give more information on the Combat COVID app? This is exciting technology that both Miami-Dade and Palm Beach County have invested in. I think that we have a challenge in connecting with the younger generation. and impressing upon them the dangers of this pandemic. We're starting to see parties up in colleges and at other areas of this country where there's just a massive spread from our younger population. There's a lot of evidence that the younger generation was somewhat responsible for the previous outbreaks that have occurred during this pandemic when we opened up the economy. We're hopeful that this app will help combat the pandemic in the sense that it's using very private technology. The county administrator talked about the difference between GPS and Bluetooth technology. We don't want to expose any public information that's not possible through this app. But really, the information that I could give on it is that it needs to be downloaded, and we need to be using it very broadly, both in this county and in Miami-Dade. It's possible that Broward County will take on this technology as well. And I think once we start to download it and people become familiar with it, comfortable with it, utilize the other resources that are on the platform, that we'll have more to report on it. But certainly this is new technology that's being developed locally, and we're sort of leading the way nationally and throughout the world in using technology to combat this pandemic. Any other questions? Very good. Well, we have an operations center full of very committed, very passionate people, but they're tired. This is day 140, so we're going to take a very short break here for an hour or so, and then we're going to get right back at it. We appreciate the hard work of everybody involved in this response. And Palm Beach County, thank you for continuing to be awesome partners in combating this pandemic. Thank you.